A Russian helicopter crew freaked out, tried to run, and was killed after realizing their captain had defected to Ukraine, official says.
Here's a summary of the article.
A Russian pilot defected to Ukraine on Wednesday, taking his helicopter with him, officials say. Ukraine's head of military intelligence told RFE/RL that the pilot's crew members were taken by surprise. The Russian pilot who defected by landing a Mi-8 helicopter at a Ukrainian airbase on Wednesday took the rest of his crew by surprise, Ukraine's head of military intelligence said. The crew did not know what was going on or where they were when they landed, said the head of Ukraine's main Directorate of Intelligence, Kyrylo Budanov, in an interview with Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, the US-funded outlet. The operation leaves Ukraine with a valuable piece of equipment it can now use against Russia. When it occurred to the two crew members that they were in Ukraine, almost 200 miles from the front line, they started to freak out and tried to run, Budanov told RFE/RL. Ukraine's military intelligence agency told the Kyiv Post that the helicopter crew members were unwilling to surrender and were consequently eliminated. Though the Kyiv Post reported that Russian propaganda outlet said the helicopter landed in Ukraine by mistake, Budanov said in an earlier Facebook post that there was very little chance of that.
This post received a score of 7,900, with an upvote ratio of 97%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Russia is currently more at war with its own military than Ukraine.
It wouldn't be a Russian war unless a significant portion of their casualties were intentionally inflicted by their own side.
One of the more grisly things they're well known for, brutality against their own soldiers.
Atrocities against civilians is something I've always known the Russians were proud of, but even so, I always thought that barrier troops were an exaggeration until that footage dropped a few months ago. Same with rampant rape of subordinates as punishment and discipline.
That hatred doesn't come from nowhere. Rest assured that the worst armies in history usually brutally mistreat and beat up their own men too.
Well, if you were in an army during Napoleonic times, that was the status quo for training a soldier. You recruit from the poor and the prisons, beat them repeatedly so they fear the reprisals of disobedience more than they fear the guns of the enemy, and then send them marching to their potential deaths.
Napoleon's soldiers was over-motivated by themselves and not mistreated. They was fighting for the revolution values, for their emperor, for their country that was threatened by all Europe, for plunder and loot, for ambition too because army get reformed and now anybody could access higher ranks and not only nobles, for glory and honor, to have the chance to walk under the Arc of Triumph on the champs? Lee? S. acclaimed by the crowd after yet again another brilliant victory. One of the reasons Napoleon won so many battles on numerical inferiority and often took his enemies by surprise. His troops was so motivated they could walk all night and fight at the morning yelling, "For the emperor?" Like mad lads while running over their hesitating opponents.
Greater than along with the helicopter, the pilot brought the parts of Su-27 and Su-30 SM fighter jets, the Kyiv Post reported. Lol, his crew must have been really confused about the supplies they were carrying.
Supplies no, landing zone absolutely.
Yeah, it wouldn't be surprising in the slightest to use a helicopter to run supplies quickly.
It's a good sign, especially when we have another winter approaching, that the Russian troops are showing fatigue for the war.
I have always felt this winter, if it can get really cold, would be a perfect time for an offensive for UA. Russia barely kept their troops warm and fed last time, and this round looks to be worse. Starving and freezing troops don't put up much of a fight and may be more willing to surrender.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.